Awesome. So, thank you so much for coming in today. My name is Rachyl Lyons. You can call me Rachel. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a clinical social worker. Um, and would you mind telling me what your preferred name is?
Yeah, my name is Elizabeth, and my pronouns are she, her.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. Were you able to get on this call pretty easily?
Yeah, the instructions
Okay.
were very clear.
Okay, awesome. I noticed it's a really nice day outside today. Have you been able to get outside?
No, just been indoors all day.
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope you are able to get outside and enjoy some of the sun later today.
Yeah,
Awesome. So, is it all right if we get started?
yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I like to start by going over some of the consent paperwork. I know there's a lot of paperwork, and that can be sometimes really overwhelming. So thank you for filling out the paperwork. I really appreciate that. Did you have any questions or anything about the consent paperwork?
I just want to make sure that what I say to you is only gonna stay between us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, this is a confidential space. This is only information between you and me. There are a couple situations, though, that are exceptions to that rule. The first is if you are a harm to yourself or others, or if you tell me any information about abuse to any children or vulnerable populations. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's understandable.
Awesome. Do you have any other questions about the consent or other paperwork?
No,
Okay, awesome. Do you have any questions for me at all?
no.
Okay, awesome. So would you mind telling me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Um, so I'm 20. I go to MSU. I'm majoring in psychology, but my parents want me to change it to mechanical engineering. I have a twin sister. Her name's Fairy. She actually transitioned in high school when we were 16. I love her so much. Like, she is so supportive of everything I do. I support everything she does. Um, it gets a little hard because our parents are like always comparing us to each other. Um, yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds really tough. Um, I'm really glad you're really close with your sister, though. Do you um, do you find her somewhat important in your life?
Yeah, she's like one of the most important people in my life. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have her.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm really glad you have someone like that in your life. So you had mentioned some trouble with your parents with college. Would you mind telling me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so my parents pay for my tuition. They're really well off. They're both mechanical engineers. Um, and so we decided that for them to pay for my education, I would major in mechanical engineering and get my degree. Um, but being in college, I realized I didn't want to do that. And I found out that I love psychology more than mechanical engineering. And that's like my passion. But they said they weren't going to pay anymore if I don't change my major back.
Okay. That sounds like a lot happening right now. Um, I think anyone in that situation would be feeling pretty overwhelmed right now. Um,
Yeah.
do you find yourself feeling overwhelmed with the situation?
Yeah, I don't know what to do about it anymore because I don't have my own money. Um, I don't have a job, so I've been looking at scholarships to help.
Yeah.
Because I really just don't want to change it back, but I know it'll be easier if I do just change it back to mechanical engineering and then just get my degree in it.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're kind of dealing with this conflict between what you want and what's going to make you happy versus kind of what your parents want and fitting their desires so that way you can get your tuition. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay. Thank you for sharing that information with me. I really appreciate it. Um, and could you tell me a little bit about psychology? It sounds like it's really something very important and makes you happy.
And I had to, so we all had to do like general courses freshman year. So I took a psychology course, Psychology 101, and I just loved it, like learning about people's minds and why they do things the way they do. And it just became a passion of mine. And then I was talking to the professor, and they were telling me all these things I could do with psychology. And I think I want to go and get like my PhD and do and be a psychologist. I don't necessarily want to be a psychiatrist because I don't want to prescribe medication, but I just want to be there to help people and get them through things.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds really amazing. It just um, you seem really like a person that kind of has goal oriented and you know that you want to be able to help people. Do you in what year are you in college?
Well, I dropped out
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
last semester, but I was in my sophomore year.
Yeah. Would you like to tell me about that experience at all? Is that okay?
Yeah, I can talk about it. So I just got very overwhelming, and I was very depressed because my parents, they're just like controlling everything, and so they took my car away because I didn't change my major back. Well, I didn't tell them that I changed my major. They found out um, somehow, and so they said I had to change my major back or they're taking my car. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Like I can take the bus and stuff. And then Fairy has her car still. So I was like, okay. And then it just became too much. They stopped like giving me my allowance. They just stopped. And so I just dropped out. But I had nowhere to go. So I had to go back home. And now they're like pressuring me to like re-enroll, but I only want to re-enroll if I can do psychology.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a lot going on. It it sounds to me like you have kind of a lot of tension in your relationship with your parents right now, and maybe that they're kind of a little bit controlling about what you're kind of doing. Is that how you're feeling? Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't always like this. It just like started happening when I was a teen, like when we were 16.
Yeah. Would you be comfortable telling me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Um so one day it was after Fairy transition, and my parents, they were always supportive of Fairy. Um and then one day they just looked at me and like, why can't you be like your sister? Like why can't you just be who you are? Why can't you speak up? Because I'm very like shy and like soft spoken. And Fairy's not. Like she is just outgoing. She's like the social butterfly. And I'm not. And that's like where it started, really. And I don't blame Fairy at all. I'm glad she's just being who she is, and I support her 100%. But I just want them to see that I'm being who I am.
Yeah, that sounds really tough. And so that happened about 4 or so years ago. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like your parents are kind of not being supportive of you and kind of how you're choosing to live your life?
Yeah.
Do you
I
think that,
just
sorry, go ahead.
I just wish like they would just talk to me and not at me.
Hmm. What do you, what kinds of things do you wish they talked to you about?
I just feel like they don't know me.
Hmm.
Like, they don't really even know like my favorite color. Um, but like they know fairies. Like, um, it just I just want them to accept me for who I am. Like I'm shy.
Yeah.
I'm not really like I hate engineering. Like I hate
Yeah.
it. Um, I just want them to be okay with it, like and not try to control everything I do because they pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like one of your big strengths is really knowing who you are and kind of where you want to be in the world. And I really admire that. That sounds not everyone's able to be, know who they are in life. So thank you for sharing, that beautiful part of your personality with me. Yeah. Would you mind if we switch gears just a little bit? I totally would like to hear more about family and kind of that situation, but I just want to get a couple things out of the way just for purposes of this intake appointment. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Awesome. So one thing I really want to ask everybody that comes into my office is just if you're kind of dealing with any um, current abuse or um, any emotional, physical, anything like that. I know that some people are going through that sometimes, and it's hard to speak up about it. But I just want to offer my, support and listening in case that's something that's going on.
I would say kind of verbally. My dad just he doesn't listen, and so it's his way, and so he'll just talk at me, and he'll just yell at me and tell me like, "Why can't you be my fairy? You're a disgrace. Like you're supposed to." Like this is supposed to be a family of engineers, and you want to do psychology. Um, so I'll say verbally, my
Yeah.
dad does that.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that with me. Do you ever feel unsafe around your dad?
No.
Okay. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, sometimes like when he's yelling at me, like I don't think he'll hit me or anything. He'll just like get in my face.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'll just like leave the room, and sometimes he'll follow me. But my mom will be like, "That's enough. Like you need to stop. Just let her be." And then I'll just be in my room for the rest of the day.
Okay. Sounds like your mom is really looking out for you. Um,
Sometimes
Sometimes, yeah. Do you want to talk about that at all?
I just feel like in my household, like what my dad says, like goes.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like when he's being too much, she'll step in. Other times, like she'll just agree with him because
Mm,
it's easier.
okay. Okay. And is this the way it's always been, or do you remember anything different when you were younger?
My childhood, like, was great. Like, whenever I had a problem, I would go and talk to my family and talk to my parents, and they would take care of it. They'll always tell me like, "I love you. Like, you're amazing. Don't ever forget that." Um, I never like yelled at me. I never got like spankings or anything. He would just talk to me like, "Hey, you did this. Let's talk about it," and then that would help me understand better, not to do whatever I did. Um, we would go on trips together all the time. Like we always went out of the country. It was great. Um, and then it just like changed.
It sounds like um, it changed when when your sister came out and transitioned. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, they, yeah.
And I just noticed when you were talking about how your family was in your childhood, your face kind of lit up and you were seemed really excited and happy about all of the experiences you guys were having. Is that kind of how you wish your family was right now, or how do you wish it was?
I wish like we can just like go back there, like we
Yeah.
can just talk about things, but like accept each other's differences, but still like be a family, like have like good communication instead of like feel like we have horrible communication now.
Okay.
Um, it was more fun. I felt more free and not as restricted as I do like today.
Yeah. Okay. And do you feel like the big thing in the way of getting to that kind of comfortability with your family is kind of how your dad is really kind of what he says goes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you feel like you have any support in the family right now? Do you feel like anyone's kind of on your team?
I feel like Fairy is, and my mom is sometimes, but she'll just be like, "Your dad's going through a lot right now, so just like don't mind him." But like, it's still very hurtful to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's understandably hurtful. I think anyone in this situation would feel pretty hurt by it. Um, do you have any friends or other family members that you really have as a social support?
My mom has like a best friend. So my parents, they don't really have family.
Okay.
My grandparents actually died in a car accident when I was 16 as well.
I'm so sorry to hear
Um,
that.
and they were my dad's parents. So, and then my mom, she has a best friend, and that's like my auntie.
Yeah.
She's like supportive too. I have friends, but I feel like they're more Barry's friends, like, because like she drags me to everything she does because she wants me to, get out more. So I feel like they're her friends, but not necessarily mine.
Okay.
Then I had one or two before I dropped out.
Okay. Yeah. And have you tried to um, reach out at all since you dropped out?
Yeah, and they ask me like, "Where are you? What are you doing?" Then I tell them, they're like, "Oh, that sucks." But we don't really talk about it. We just send like memes back and forth and like TikToks and videos back and forth.
Okay. Yeah. Are you are you able to talk about this, you know, this conflict and this trouble you're having with anyone? Do you talk about it with Barry?
Yeah, I talk about it with Fairy, and she understands, but kind of not because they're not that way with her.
Yeah.
Um, so like she doesn't really understand, but like she's there when I want to talk. I just don't really like to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm kind of hearing is that you're kind of having a lot of trouble with being able to be kind of your true self, and you're kind of feeling a little bit of, pushback from your parents, and there's not a lot of people you feel like you can talk about it to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Does it ever make you feel isolated or anything like that?
it does, and I like tend to make excuses for my dad, because my grandfather was this way with him, and when they died, it seemed like he just like took that over.
Okay.
So I'm like, he doesn't really mean it. This was just how he was raised, but like he was never the same when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes me, I don't know, like I feel guilty that I'm feeling this way.
Okay.
Um, but at the same time, like I know like it's not okay for me to feel this way. And then it just makes me like just stay in my room all day.
Okay. Guilty for being upset at your father for kind of being this like massive authority figure.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel, you had mentioned that your grandparents died when you were about 16. Do you think that, could you tell me a little bit about that and if that had any big effects on you?
Well, they were never really around. They would come for holidays because my dad, um, he wasn't, he didn't really like his father because of the way he grew up. His father was just very authoritative, I want to
Yeah.
say. Um, and he didn't let my dad like do anything he wanted. My grandparent, well, my granddad was an engineer too, so that's why my dad went into that. So they weren't really around. Like he'll invite them, and then my grandfather and my dad will start like bickering over something my dad did. So when we went on vacations, it was just like the four of us.
Mm-hmm.
So when they died, like it upset me, but I didn't really know them like that.
Okay. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, it kind of sounds like um, after they passed, your dad took on that role and now is kind of like repeating that relationship with you, and kind of making that a generational thing. Is that how it feels? Yeah.
Yeah, and he used to always say, like when we were young, he was like, "I'm not gonna be like my dad. I'm not gonna be like that." But like he is like turning into that.
Okay. What do you wish he was like? If you could give him a couple strengths that would be helpful to you guys, what do you wish he was like?
I wish he was like how he was when we were younger, like more supportive, easier to talk to, not as controlling. And I wish he didn't yell at me. I don't like when people yell at me.
Yeah.
Um, I just wish he was like lovable again. Like he won't even hug me anymore. Like it upsets me.
Yeah. Does it feel like you um lost your father?
Yeah, like when I was 16 and my granddad died, or my grandparents died, it just feels like he died too. And
Yeah.
like he's just a shell of my grandfather now.
Yeah. That's really tough having to kind of deal with all that change at the time and also kind of grieving for the loss of your father. Um, do you feel like your mom changed at all after that?
I feel like she got more submissive. Like my mom was always like, I wouldn't say like she controlled the family, but like she kept everything in order. She was always on top of things. She was like, and my dad was more like submissive to her. Like my mom ran things.
Yeah.
Um, but she was still like nice and kind, um, and easy to talk to and supportive. And now like she just like, I don't know. It seems like she just wants to make it easier for my dad, so she just goes along with whatever he does.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds tough. Do you mind if we switch gears a little bit?
Mhm.
Um, so I'd asked you about how you wish your dad was different. I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit about about your strengths and what that would bring to the new relationship if your dad were able to be different. If you could just tell me kind of some of the things that you see as great about you.
Um, I guess being understanding, being supportive, um, I'm able to like, I don't know. I guess I never really thought about like my strengths. Um, but I think I'm able to know who I am and speak up if it's not to my dad
Mhm.
or to my parents, I should say.
Do you feel like you've been given the space in your family and in your life to talk about you and what your strengths are and how great you are?
When I was younger, yeah. Not so much now. Like they don't really listen. I guess, like I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was like, "Something, something. Your favorite color is red." And I was just like, "No, it's not. It's purple." Like he knew that when I was younger. So I was just like, "Are you serious?" And then he got upset. Like, how do you expect me to know your favorite color? And I'm like trying to be understanding, but I was just like, "You just forgot? Like you forgot about me?"
Mm. Do you feel like that's a bigger theme that you feel kind of forgotten about in general?
Yeah, I feel like when we were 16 and Fairy transitioned, um, and then my grandparents died, like he just put all his work into like making sure she's okay, which I know she needed during that time. Like it was very rough. And then he just like turned like cold shoulder to me.
Mm.
Um, I didn't understand.
Sounds very confusing and overwhelming. I think any teenager would be having all of those feelings, all of those thoughts rushing in their head. Um, it also sounds a little bit to me like um, you said he's putting all of his support into Fairy, and that's fine because she needs it. Do you ever think about what you need, and thinking about, aside from Fairy, aside from mom and dad, what is it that you need?
Um, no, not really. Um, I just feel like I don't want to say like her problems are bigger, but I feel like she needs all the support right now because like the world is like really harsh to her.
Yeah.
And they make fun of her name, which it came from like when we were younger, we just love fairies.
Yeah.
So she wanted to change her name to Fairy. So I'm glad she has that support. So I guess I wasn't really thinking about myself until like now.
Yeah. What do you think it would be like to think about yourself and just yourself?
I don't know. I kind of feel like it's selfish. Um, I guess this is how I view it as, but um, yeah. But I think like it's something I need to do now. Especially because I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of staying in this room,
Yeah.
not going outside, like just being in the house, like away from everyone. But like I'm not taking care of myself.
Yeah. And can you tell me about that? What does it look like to not take care of yourself?
Well, ever since I dropped out, like I'll just stay in bed all day. Like I won't do my hair. I won't like do makeup, which I used to love, like getting dressed and doing my hair, doing my makeup, like looking nice. But now I'm just like in hoodies. I'm just in sweatpants. I don't really eat like that unless it's like 3 in the morning, and then I'll go down because I know they're not downstairs.
Okay.
Um, and I'll just like have clothes piled up, like I'm just living in filth.
Okay. And is that something you want to change?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's something that is easy to change or really difficult to change, or how do you feel about that right now?
I think it'll be in the middle, medium, to
Yeah.
change. Only because I've gotten to the habit of it. Oh, it's 9 a.m. I'll just go back to sleep. I'm like, it's too early to get up. Then 12 will come or 4 p.m. will come. I'm like, whatever. And I'll just keep water and snacks in my room and just
Mhm.
keep that to hold me over. And then I'll just look at the clothes. I'm like, I should wash, but then I just don't.
Yeah. It sounds really, I'm really glad that you had decided. It feels medium difficulty, I think for a lot of people this could feel like climbing a mountain, it's impossible. And I think that's a really good strength of yours, that you feel like it's something you can do, because that's it's something you want to change, and I think it's something you can. And I also think that you're doing a lot of really good things right now. You'd mentioned you try to keep water and snacks with you. I think that's a really good thing. I think you're taking care of yourself, even amongst all of this trouble and all of these big feelings, and you know trouble being outside of your room. You're still able to push through and at least take care of yourself.
Yeah, I want their words to not affect me as much to make me go into a depression.
Yeah.
I just want our relationship to be better. Well, not necessarily like how it was, but better than how it was.
Yeah.
Some down, you know.
Do you feel like that's something that can happen?
I think so. If I start with my mom,
Yeah.
not my dad yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that sounds really reasonable. That sounds like a good starting step. I mean, it sounds like there's, a lot of emotions and a little bit of like fear maybe about, trying to approach your dad and have, a change come about that. And it's really difficult to do that out of, starting nowhere.
Mm.
Um, and what do you think? What do you think it would be like to ask something of your mom right now?
I feel like it would be easy if my dad wasn't around. If I got her alone.
Okay. Yeah. And do you think, how do you feel like that conversation will go?
I think she'll be very understanding. I mean, the other day she came into my room and she apologized and she was like, I'm sorry, because my dad was yelling at me all day. She was like, I'm sorry, he's yelling at you. Um, but it's gonna get better. We're gonna fix it. And I'm just like, how? And she was like, I don't know, but we're gonna get better. He's hurting right now. Um, so I think it'll go easy. I feel like she'll listen, but I don't know if she'll try to. It just seems like she's two different people with me, and then when my dad's around.
Okay. Yeah, I hear that. It also sounds like maybe kind of the support she was offering wasn't really getting to you. It sounds like it wasn't something that helped at all.
Yeah. I need more.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to tell her that.
Yeah. And do you think that's something you would want to work on if we continue to work together? Kind of
Yes.
how to ask for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And what do you think it would be like to ask someone for what you need, whether it might be your mom or maybe Fairy?
Um, like, would it be easy for me to ask someone?
Just whatever you think it would be like.
Um, I think it'll be kind of like in the middle again. Because like I can like talk to like anyone that's not like related to me and tell them what I need, tell them like you did this, I felt this, you
Yeah.
know, like when it comes to like asking them like I said, like very I just want to ask her and I feel like she goes through a hard time already, like, you know, being trans in this world. So like I don't really ask her for things. Lately I've been asking her to like rides to like the grocery store or something, and she'll do it, but like I just feel bad like asking. Um, I feel like I just need to get over that in a way and just ask them. 'Cause I don't like she's not gonna tell me no, but like I don't know.
It sounds like maybe you're putting her needs of kind of emotional support above some of your needs.
Yeah.
And do you feel like your needs are important?
Yeah. I guess I just been like well for the last 4 years I've been told and felt like she's more important than me. Um, with her being out now, and I guess I just internalized that.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, you know, sometimes when clients are feeling, really overwhelmed like this and kind of having a lot of these big emotions, you know, it's common for people to feel like they, don't want to be around or that they wish they weren't alive. Is that, do you feel anything like that, or do you ever think that?
No, um, not really. I just, I guess I just isolate myself. And like, I'm okay with being alone, I guess.
Okay.
Um, so like, I don't really mind it, but like, I know like I shouldn't be alone like all the time,
Yeah.
especially when I feel like I need support. And I
Yeah.
should be able to ask for that. I can't sometimes.
Why should you? You said should.
Um, because like I'm a person too. Um, and like I should feel like I should be able to have that. Because I feel like I'm a good person and like I support everyone else. So like I should be able to have that too.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a very great person from our time together today. Um, and I agree. You deserve support and to feel important. And do you think any of those kind of internalized feelings of maybe not feeling the most important, do you think that might be something you would want to address if we decide to keep working together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't want to feel so like woe is me all the time. Like I just I wanna work on that.
You It seems like you're feeling some tension there with kind of woe is me? Do you feel like you're not allowed to feel this way?
Yeah, sometimes like I go back and forth about it. Like I know I should be allowed, but like with the way things are, they're telling me that I shouldn't. And so like and like they're my parents, so it hurts more than like if some random person told me
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah, I hear that. That sounds really hurtful to hear. And I'm really sorry that that's the message you're getting from them. That's really tough. Um, we're getting a little bit close to our time today. I just wanted to check in, see how you're feeling, see if there's anything that we haven't gotten to that maybe you'd like to talk about today.
No. I feel like we addressed what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Um, and I think like going forward, I will try to like have that conversation with my mom first, or even just talk to Fairy about it.
Yeah. And that's not something you need to do, today, tomorrow, next week. That's something we can work on together about how that might look and what you might need to be able to do that. So I'm wondering if we could maybe kind of think about um, what the rest of that plan might look like. What do you think, um, besides maybe talking to your mom or Fairy, what do you think you would like to focus on in therapy, and what would you like to get out of it?
I want to get like more, or be able to ask for more support for me and not feel like guilty about it.
Okay. I think that's a good place to start, a really good goal. And that's something that we can definitely work towards. We went through a lot of stuff today. I'm wondering if there's anything you need right now from me.
Um, no, not right now.
Okay.
Just like talking to you helped like a lot and helped me understand a lot of things.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. Well, if there's nothing else that you're wanting to go over, I'm wondering, what do you have going on for the rest of the day?
Um, I am just gonna be in my room. Fairy brought me like Panda Express, so I'm gonna eat that. Then she went back to school because she had classes. But I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start watching Squid Game. That'll
I've
be
heard
fun.
about that.
Yeah, I heard it was very crazy. So I wanna like get into that world and like not in mine a little bit
Yeah.
and like watch that. I think that'll be something fun to do. Um,
Yeah.
I have dinner tonight with my parents, but I don't know if I want to go downstairs.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like it could be a tough situation to deal with. Do you think you have a lot of trouble just going down to dinner with them? Do you think that usually kind of starts some trouble with your dad?
Um, no, like he doesn't even like talk to me like at dinner. It's just like silent, and I don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I can understand that. Yeah. Do you think Fairy would like to have dinner with you, maybe?
I could ask her, but I know like she's busy, like she has classes and
Mhm.
stuff. But I think I will ask her. Cause her class like ends at like 4:30, so I think I will ask. I'll ask.
Yeah. I'm glad that that sounds like it might be a really good plan. You know if there's anything good for dinner tonight?
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're off in their own world. Well, I hope it's something good. I hope you're able to spend some time with Fairy, and I hope you take care of yourself between now and if we decide to meet again. Um, yeah, I will see you next time.
Thank you for talking to me today.
Awesome. Thank you for coming in.